many trophies like that have been wasted by hitting by vehicles.
Oh, that, oh, goodness
I
sakes.
think our last, the biggest one in the state, 4 years ago was hit on, Henslow Road. Biggest muley on record.
Wow.
It's mounted down at Shields.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, what the heck?
More engineering
Oh, that's interesting.
Nobody can lay claim to it, but, well, I guess the guy that hit it was a vehicle, but you can't, it's not, what do they call it? Like, it's not, oh, like that guy that caught that record walleye, it's not by, legal means, harvested by legal means,
Harvest by legal means, yeah.
so you can't brag about it.
Yeah. Doing 80 miles an hour to kick up.
I just happened to go in the ditch when he was there. No, I mean, that probably went up, and he probably went after me. Morning, Dan. How you doing?
Not really enjoying in January.
Oh, come on.
That's fine.
Sooner you get used to it, the easier it's gonna be.
Well, you're gonna have to
I have so
kinda
much to
store
do.
up a little, eat up a little bit, that just drinking coffee
Well,
ain't
you
gonna
don't
make
like
her.
me asking all those questions, so I'm
Need a
gonna go there.
15-pounder.
He's doing a good job with that, aren't you, Dwayne?
I don't know.
Isn't that something?
Probably.
My
As much
goodness.
as I know.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. Except for what you don't know and you can't help it.
Right.
That was a very, very nice compliment.
Well, it's 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. First order is to approve the agenda.
So moved to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Chairman, I'd like to add, under wherever you choose, transfer of funds. Be a very short comment there.
Well, we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
And then it's open for discussion. It was seconded and open for discussion, right?
It is open for discussion, but the agenda would have to be amended to add something to it.
Correct. Thank you. I would like to amend the motion to approve the budget to include transfer of funds
Agenda.
onto the agenda.
The other business. Any other discussion? Merlin?
We were-
You need a second on that amendment?
Yes.
I'll second the amendment.
Okay. Marv, how do you vote on the amendment?
Aye.
White?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
And Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
And I vote aye, motion carried.
Thanks, Shannon.
Now,
Now you
Merlin?
have to go through and do the yeah.
Pardon?
Now you have to go through and do the other roll call vote.
Yes.
Yep.
Merlin, how do you vote? on
Aye.
it? Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
White?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
And I vote aye, motion is carried. Next up is the approval of the minutes of the October 9th special meeting.
Chairman, on our October 16th meeting, I asked that some comments be added to, not added, I added some information to be included that was discussed during the October 9th meeting. And it was said that, well, they wanted to review the videotape first. I did review the videotape on the line. There's nothing there. It shows the beginning of the meeting, and it goes right to the end, there's no meeting. So I couldn't review it.
Okay, and they weren't changed because you guys all got in your packets the AG's opinion that Jessica had furnished on the minutes, which is part of her discussion
I think we do, according to that case study, if you read it. If the minutes aren't accurate,
But
we
they're
have,
accurate.
no, they're not.
Or incomplete information.
Yes,
They weren't incomplete.
Yes, they were. I made a statement during there that, and in fact, there isn't even a second on this October 2nd meeting. We did second the meeting, so yes, they are incomplete.
Okay,
So,
I
but-
don't wanna argue about this, but
so
all that is required in the minutes is the
accuracy,
meeting
accurate
and
records
the
and
motion,
minutes.
who seconded, and the roll call vote,
Yep.
and when it was adjourned.
please
Yep.
put the mic over so we can hear you, because when we see the meetings, we can't do that. Chairman, this is a commissioner meeting. Most of the meetings have information on it. If we request our comments to be put in there, I believe they should be. I don't believe they should be censored and just chosen which comments to be put in and which not to be put in. Per the Attorney General's opinion, if the information is incomplete, the information can be added. And the county commissioners may correct minutes to the extent the minutes are incomplete or inaccurate. What is essential, the auditors, the minutes are accurate to the account of what transpired. It does not, the minutes of October 9th do not include what transpired. I want to add, no, I'm sorry, I want the minutes to include what transpired. There are defects or errors in the minutes, it's all per 11-36-3. It also says, it is not until after the minutes are approved and signed by the chairman and attested by the county auditor that further commission business can be conducted. We cannot move forward until this is resolved. So, we're not gonna wait till 10:10 unless you guys choose to, that's up to you guys. I would like to hand out, so everybody has a copy. You can hand those down. This is what I discussed at the October 16th meeting that I wanted to be included with the minutes because it is what transpired. And I was told that, well, we need to review the video. So this isn't any new information. This is what I wanted added at the October 16th meeting. Yes, you may. So, Chairman, I move that the attached information be included in the minutes of October 9th, 2019. First item, right after the number of the revenues totaling that Mr. Dahl expressed, it should say NC seconded it. Immediately following that, Schwer asked Dahl to clarify his motion which documents he referred to. Mr. Dahl stated per the final detailed budget expenditure dated 9/19/20. And Mr. Dahl stated per the worksheet handed out by the auditor on this date. Schwer added that the motion be read. Schwer asked Mr. Ency if he agreed to this as he had seconded the motion. Mr. Ency agreed. This was done at the October 9th meeting, and I move that this be included.
I have no objection to including it, so that's fine, but this is what I got from our state's attorney, and I guess she'll review it, or she'll go over it with us
That's correct.
later in the meeting. So I'm just saying, according to what I got from her,
I understand, Shannon.
so
Yep.
I'm not here to argue with you, so if that's how you guys wanna approve these minutes, that's fine.
Okay, those items will be added in, Shannon?
If that's what the board,
I made a motion, it was seconded. We should vote on it.
Who seconded?
I'm sorry, I thought it was seconded.
It is now, I second it.
Well, you're moving ahead of the chairman here, Marv.
Well, you were asking if it was gonna be included.
I was going to ask for a second.
I'm sorry.
So Dwight seconded.
Yep.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Marv, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion is carried.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and actually for minutes, all that really needs to be in there is motions and seconds and votes. No discussion needs to be in there at all.
It states that the discussion leading up to the motion can be included in the minutes.
Can be. It doesn't, it's not required to be.
And that's what we wanna do. We can add it to the minutes.
We can, yes.
And we just did.
Well, after a second, I always like to have a discussion, if, you know,
Yeah,
so it kind of clears the air a little bit. So, now can we have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 9th meeting
As amended,
as amended?
I so move.
Second.
Any more discussion? No. He
I
made
thought
a
the
motion.
was to amend.
Motion was to put the amendment in it, now we're going to approve the minutes as amended.
Did you make the motion, Aaron?
Yes.
Marv, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight,
Aye.
Wayne,
What I,
Merlin,
aye.
and I vote aye, motion is carried. Now the October 16th meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
second that,
That you, Wayne?
yes.
Any discussion on that? Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne,
Aye.
Dwight,
Aye. Aye.
Marv,
Aye.
and I vote aye, motion is carried. Next up is the review and approval of the bills.
Nice. Just leave that on there.
I'll get you there, Merlin.
Okay.
Well, you're chomping at the bit here.
No, I'm not chopping, I'm just at the bit, a little bit.
sheet, it appears I'm over on membership dues by $50. What membership dues am I paying?
Well, you would have paid the County Commissioner Association membership dues, but you shouldn't have been over on that.
Well, it comes, I think my budget's $330
That's
and,
what it should be, that was what your membership.
yeah, but
dues-
I'm at 380, so I'm over $50.
I'll look into that.
Okay, I just wanted to mention
Yeah,
it.
and if it was a mistake, if it hit your number instead of somebody else's, we'll JD it. We'll JD that
Thanks for the
out
help.
there.
I brought it along, but of course, right now, I can't find the
Well,
darn
that's okay,
thing.
I'll have one within there.
Just curiosity, what is the date that they have to have the bales removed?
November 1st, I believe.
It was extended to the 15th.
I thought it was the end.
The governor, I believe.
Oh, I
We're
didn't say, yeah,
only
the
making
statute says.
payment this year, in next year, because he didn't have enough in the budget for it, so he's paying half this year and half. That's on that mower.
Yeah, yeah.
Good catch, I missed that, but I knew what was going on. He talked about it at the last,
Well, yeah, but it,
they're out with all three of them now, trying to get done.
People vote yesterday?
Did you?
did pretty good progress yesterday, you're just going on.
What, in your country?
Yeah, yep, down 25 and
Yeah.
I held their
You know, and of course, with this cockeyed rain and stuff, they gotta go back over
election.
a bunch.
oh, they probably did.
It's a regrowth.
That's very good turnout, I didn't think, according to the.
I shouldn't say it that way, but
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever complain
Not
about the
like-
rain,
not
but
like
I
it's
started
the
through this
school
fall.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it pass.
I usually am pretty reserved complaining about moisture.
Yeah.
We're gonna need it.
Yeah, spring's gonna be ugly. Everything's so saturated that,
Well,
We got dry creeks, we can handle it.
that's where it's going.
Yep, it heads to Beulah,
Yeah.
too.
you know, I
Actually goes
do
up-
my exercise work in the house. I
Goes
sprint
down
back
to
and forth between the
Coyote Creek
refrigerator.
and goes, drops into the
So
Knife
I'm
River
doing my
up
part.
there and-
That's a very good.
Yeah. Ultimately, Bismarck will eventually get it.
I may try the golf
They're
simulator.
gonna leave the discharge, but they actually up the discharge
Oh.
as part of the lake to make room for next spring already, so. The floodgates are gonna be open all winter.
FFA. Is
Well, that's amazing that the intelligence
that
got
what
it,
you were there for?
because,
No, we took,
well, yeah, Montana, you know, same
Okay.
thing.
So my husband was.
Well, they already got a bunch.
Yes.
Pretty awesome.
Here's the bill on the motor on that tractor. This man looks like he's dressed for winter.
Simulator golf
prepared.
field. They used to have some in
Steve,
Bismarck.
looks like you're ready for winter.
Went to more modern than those, or?
I didn't have those, I didn't want it. It was like a hotel without a wall on it, so they were all on the sixth floor or whatever, and there's just like a big net underneath the opening, you know, on the side of that wall was open. And then there was like a table there, and they ordered drinks and appetizers, and they rented the slot for $40 an hour.
Right.
Was Bismarck that building that they have?
Yeah.
No, well, they have a simulator in there at one time, but there was also a company down on Front Street in Washington. They had a really nice place there. And there was one
Uh-oh.
up on Third, Boulevard, but it doesn't seem like they ever
Got
paved.
everything recharged,
closed now.
re-going again.
Well, I guess maybe this wasn't a,
Solid state unit
The
there
truck-
the other day, it's orange light, solid orange light.
Oh, golf, so you do,
oh,
and it's really
Oh.
fun.
yeah, he really is.
You got
It's really
sunscreen
fun.
down there?
It almost seems real.
I don't.
It's a blast, especially if you take a group of people, and like you said, what he did, and they were having a few drinks and laughing and just sharing fun time.
Green,
It's just, it's really cool, because you don't have to get up and walk, you can stay all together, it's a lot of fun.
and,
Well, pumping it up.
You,
Or the pump itself, or the motor.
that would be, go try that golf simulator with you ladies, you'll laugh and laugh and laugh.
open the valve.
Thing is, the more time you're there, well, the more drinks you have, your golf skills kind of diminish, but
It don't matter, you're there for laughter and a good time.
So I had to go to the other.
you get your friend in the other club.
Yeah, I guess, right then and there,
There were,
$52
talking
a
about
month.
getting hit with a club, we were at a scramble
Yeah,
on
well,
Hazen,
I hope this
and
is
one of my
not-
friends,
I don't know. It-
he's a left-handed guy, and he was standing, waiting to tee off, and there's 8 guys, you been to a scramble before, there's 8 guys on the tee box, you've been there, right?
Yep.
For 30 minutes.
And he's just standing there, and he's going like this. Here's Dave Crumley.
Into the
Bash.
thing, they broke it open, so
Blood's coming
folks
out.
were drinking
Juices
over
out
there.
the ground.
But I'm not glad that I know.
So you got a hole in one.
This morning, it just happened.
With the club. Up to 2,000.
Like me, I'm putting so much demand on my well system now with all the cows home, all the cows home.
I'll have Mary give you the club.
Oh, that's a daily. If I go out and make my rounds, the fountain's got
Those
water in them
simulators
and
are
nothing throws up, I'm a happy man.
One time I bought some land in Bismarck. It's actually where the Holiday Inn North of Stan Public, I used to own
The
that.
pump is some, I mean,
I was gonna build a golf simulator
Each on this
facility, I
stuff.
mean, all the plans,
everything.
everything. And I was also attending college at that time, and I took it.
Did you,
University of Mary did a
I
free
take it submersible?
job, or I mean, business analysis. And they did it, and they said, run away from it.
Yeah, well, if you got a lot of
And I
rust
did,
and.
I was
and
kind of reluctant, and then I kept seeing these other ones opening up, and I'm like, damn it, I should have listened. But they all
I've
quit.
got sand and cold flakes and everything, every time you turn a hydrant on, it comes.
Yeah, you have a pro on staff, and they sell different things, and there's a putting range in there, several of them, putting greens, and sell all kinds of equipment.
So then you gotta change them every once in a while.
And the ones in the bars are
So,
just fun.
but you don't know,
Really
you
fun.
maybe something new will propel.
Some of the farmers out east put them in their Quonsets and they practice all winter long when they're not down in Arizona.
See, I've got 25 feet of sand screen, so that has been the culprit more than once.
More than one.
It's sure justified. Like, I don't know what they are now.
What?
On simulators, I think they're about $8,000 a course.
6,000.
Shit,
I was
you're not
gonna go on
using it
at-
that much.
At my
anymore.
place.
Yeah.
Probably not as fancy as some of those, but. Otherwise, if I hit those balls without the simulator,
Yeah,
oh, it's gonna go through
that's a
TVs
bad
and
one.
windows and stuff, and it's just not good.
I'll have to show you my picture when I got rollback cow 2 weeks ago. We'll probably still see her around now. She worked me over. The second time over, I had time to think about, you guys are leaving the farm in February, I'm tired of this crap.
Man, a little bit, it's all right when you're young and dumb, but when you're old and wise, it's enough.
When I can't run
Hi,
fast
Frosty.
or scared, then
That's
the
what I thought
cow
was
came
coming in.
mad on 3 legs.
But then I
and
saw
do
it was you when, you know, you took your hat off
And
and I
just
knew
don't
who it
keep
was.
that crap around, it just ain't worth it.
Yeah, your summer haircut. Summer here and summer there, that's right.
And one of the boys comes out of the house and
You buy new combs and never part with them.
he up and would attack him. I mean, so he
Well, I
says,
have to be around here.
I mean, he never did it into him, you know, but he says, oh, he's got grandkids around here, and he says, well, we gotta get that cow back up, and he says, yeah, you got your hood up, you
No.
never know, you know,
Yeah,
she's got
A lot of them are 2/3 of a ton too. PU.
we just don't keep that shit around, cause Darby's out there as much as I
Mm-hmm.
am. And we
Say, do we
moving
put a
them from the
Husky this
pasture
month?
to a corral below them out. See, she had a bad hip, yes.
Okay.
That just come about.
Huh?
Well, she
coveralls
what
then?
we had to do and come back and get her. So we did, and I thought, well, shit, she's so mad at the
We'll have a
Fort Worth, maybe I
snowstorm.
can chase her on foot. That was a mistake, my mistake. She pounded, pushed me on my back and went over me twice and tried to pound me right in the ground.
You're lucky that you are here.
I mean, luckily, the other guy seen it happen and they come with four-wheelers and she took off after them with four-wheelers, so. My shoulder's hash, my face is feeling up. I have blood running down my cheek. But I had time to think.
I imagine, a lot of time.
It had been a week ago last Saturday.
Didn't see her on Monday down at Kiss, so.
She never made it. She did so much damage to that hip, and that was on Saturday. By Monday, she couldn't even get up. So she's Coyote Bay. Put her out of her misery. It was not a good year for me. I lost 4 cows, 2 calves, and a bull down in the pasture this year, so. Blow. Blow. Alfalfa come back so lush and they couldn't stay ahead of it,
Uh-huh.
and it was soaking wet. They couldn't handle it. I can't even, my arm is so bad I can't even load grease. You gotta put the end in a vise and pull it too close. Flieger said, told me yesterday, he says, I'm not giving up on you yet, but it might come to that.
Smokes.
Well,
Did you can get grandkids to do it.
yeah, yeah. If I waited for the grandkids to do it, I'd never, nothing done.
Grease all over.
Yeah. There's only one of my grandkids that even know what it is.
Is that right?
There ain't none of them farmers. I only got one granddaughter that, she knows her way around the shop. Grandma sent her after a hammer once and she says to Grandma, do you want one that you can pull nails with or just pound?
Laws broke off?
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been that way since.
Fine number 2 diesel already?
You can send her after a wrench. Oh, what's
Yeah, that
that?
whole thing's gelling up.
Find it. Wow.
They may have
Well,
mixed
that's
it with
good.
her number 1.
She's always been out there, it's always been her knack.
Shannon, can I ask you a question?
There's only 14 days on.
I know, it doesn't gel until below 0, but you never want it, you're familiar with diesel gelling, right? Don't want that to happen.
Well, I'm not familiar with it, but know about it.
Yeah.
They haven't happened to us.
They are.
Me either, I don't like that. The loan that we have for our bond on our building, the 300,000, no, 3 million. I went to the recorder's office, it's not there, it's not recorded, should it be recorded there? Real estate loans, aren't they typically recorded, in the recorder, I'm just
We
asking.
sold our bond. It's sold in there.
I would like to get a copy of that bond agreement, if I could please, and I don't need it till the next meeting, so don't worry about it, if you would please.
Oh, where's that now? Amendment to zoning, right here.
Any more trips planned, Dan?
Not immediately, but Alaska or the Southwest next year sometime.
Southwest in the wintertime.
That's when my parents have a place there, I've never been to the Southwest before, but now they have a winter place, so I might go in February or
Where at?
Laughlin.
Okay. That's the north southwest.
I wanna go down into Arizona there.
You can go gambling there. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, make enough for the next trip, that's the object of going there.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Or it costs you twice as much. 50-50 chance. Yeah.
Maybe I'll go on 3 trips.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a trip to Orlando next year for the national conference, and 2 weeks later, we'll be going to Alaska fishing.
You better save up a little bit. Yeah.
That'll be thermal shock.
Do you know Joel Flieger?
Yep.
I know, I don't know well, but yeah.
He goes on lots of trips, he's single and a little bit older than me. He's always going someplace.
Also got an airplane, I think, right? Joe?
Yeah, he's,
I think that thing runs almost every day, doesn't it?
yeah, Mercer County's paid for some of them trips.
Is it?
That's where we got gravel pile out there on Joe Fleet.
Well, this makes sense.
He's got money in the bank, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
A little money, a little reserve, right?
Bachelor, worked at the gas plant,
Known him for years.
inherited a bunch.
He's a successful farmer too.
Yes?
Very good farmer. He got his combine out the other day to help the neighbor combine. I don't know which neighbor, but
Joel,
yeah.
he still got his combine?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's had his land rented to my son-in-law for 4 years. He probably, well, I can't afford to sell it, I'll get income tax to get me.
He
roads get dry, sitting
Yeah,
there.
No, no.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the bills,
The treasurer bills are first,
treasurer bills.
yes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Way better.
Any discussion on that? Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Harv?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion is carried. Now the regular bills. A motion to approve.
Yep, you got another one. So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that? Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight? How do you vote?
Pass, or aye.
Oh.
I was right and pass.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Marv?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion is carried. Next up is the zoning case 5070.
Okay, that is an application to amend the Mercer County zoning ordinance under Chapter 3 zoning districts, agricultural, wind energies, and number 4 setbacks, letter A. Each wind turbine shall be set back from the nearest occupied dwelling, commercial building, or publicly used structure or facility a distance of not less than, and they want to add 1.25 times the height of the turbine measured from the ground surface to the tip of the blade when in fully vertical position, or 1,320 feet, whichever is greater, and get rid of 1,000 feet. And then it says, unless otherwise negotiated with the landowner for the occupied dwelling, commercial building, or publicly used structure. And then add, for the purposes of this section, occupied dwelling means as follows: 1, where any person lives or carries on business or other calling, or 2, which is used for overnight accommodations of persons for any duration. And everything else will be the same.
This was approved by the zoning committee.
Yeah, on September 19th, and Dwight had questions about whether that was the only thing that was changed. So it went back last time.
Yeah, I mean, this is good. It was discussed at length at the planning and zoning meeting, but it does not pertain to neighboring residences. It's just the landowner involved. I think that was the discussion we had.
Right, yep.
That was my only concern. I'll make a motion to, we wanna do approve, or, that we go follow the planning and zoning recommendation and adopt this to our ordinance?
Yes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more questions or discussion? Any more questions? Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
And I vote aye. Motion is carried. Thanks, Cindy. Why, to sign something?
Okay. Yeah, they're getting bigger all the time, so.
I think it just kinda followed with the state setbacks.
Yes, yeah.
But that's the reason, because they are getting bigger.
Marv?
Sorry? Do I have to sign that too?
Why are you giving it away?
I know, Terry, then I'll didn't realize that.
Guys south of us, they haven't had a heck of a time even putting up any, the tops. The one,
Sorry.
You ready now?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You,
staked out, anchored down.
Ended up hauling soybeans for my son-in-law down through that country to Hebron, and
Oh, sure, yeah.
there's a bunch of them.
Boy, that she needs this. You want to sign it?
ADM.
ADM, yeah.
This one down here was full, New Salem was full, so 80-mile round trip.
What are you gonna do, yeah?
Steve, you're a little early here, you're up next.
All right, well, thank you. Well, thank you for meeting and for allowing me to be on your agenda this morning. I was here, I think it was late August or early September, and we talked about the Human Service Zone Agreement that has to be presented to the department for their approval by December 1st. You approved that plan at that time, the agreement at that time, but, and I submitted it to the department, and they returned it to me and said that they wanted some changes and some further information. So I gave that, I made those revisions, submitted it to the department again, and they said it was good, but they asked me to bring it back before the commissions to have your signatures on it, and such like that. So, that's why I'm here today in a nutshell. There was three major changes that, not major, but three changes that were made in the previous agreement. The first was, we've always gone by the name Dakota Central Social Service. The new zones are required to have the name human and zone in it. So we have to change our name from Dakota Central Social Services to Dakota Central Human Service Zone. So that was a requirement that they had, so we have to make that change. I don't think that it'll be that confusing for the citizens that we serve. Most of them just call us Dakota Central. They drop off the last parts anyway, so I don't think it'll change much for them. So I think will be okay. They also wanted to make clear that the county commissions understand that you cannot dismiss social service zone employees either for cause or for reduction in force without permission from the department. So that is that's part of the law. And so if we're going to move any, if we need to make any reductions in our force, we have to have the approval of the DHS. And lastly, they had two appendixes that they wanted more information on. Appendix A has to deal with how the approval of zones and the criteria for it. Quite frankly, what I had done is gave them kind of just a small snapshot of what we would do as we had been performing. I kind of said, we've been doing this for 12 years, we're gonna continue doing it the same. And they didn't like that answer, so they wanted a little more detail. So what I did is I had to come up with some detail for them. And the detail involved how we're going to work together with other potential zones or counties around us. So I outlined how we're working with Morton and Burley in the child welfare area. They also asked us to explain how being a zone would be more specialized, which is easy for me to do because our staff is very specialized. If you were a social worker in a small county, you'd have to know every program. Our social workers just know the program that they're in. So we're able to do that, and we do the same thing on the eligibility side, so that wasn't difficult for us to do. They wanted us to list where our offices would be. We listed the 4 county seats. That's what our intent has always been, that we're gonna keep all our offices open. So we're gonna have an office in Stanton and Center, Washburn and McCluskey. We also do outreach one time a month in Beulah and one time a month in Garrison. So we put that and let them know that. We had to talk to them a little bit about staffing, how our numbers of staff that we had and how our staff fit within our caseload. And our staff all carry a caseload that's within the required caseload standards by the department. We also had to talk a little bit about demographics, our population, our land mass and such like that. And we had to have a statement that said that we would ensure that we would try to keep our costs down and lower costs if possible. We had to talk about how we're going to service our clients, and basically we're doing that through, we provide transportation to a degree for our clients to have to go to
Bismarck or Minot or Dickinson for services, but we've also included a lot of technology, so we explained how we use Skype and things like that to get those things accomplished. Appendix B had to deal with the zone board, who those members were, what their duties were and such. What I had done in the previous plan is I listed all the board members, who they were appointed by, what commission, and when their term was. They wanted a little more detail about each of the board members so that they could, I suppose, ensure that the county's population is being represented. So at the last board meeting, I asked the board members to, I gave them a little questionnaire, and from that questionnaire, I wrote up a little paragraph about each of them, and I presented them, and they were satisfied with that. So with that, Mr. Chair, I would appreciate if you would make a motion to approve this amended plan, and then I have some signatures for you to sign.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Can we clarify that motion? Is that,
That's the revised plan, the zone plan.
Yeah,
So then,
a zone agreement, I guess.
Yeah.
human service zone agreement.
Yeah.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any more questions or discussion? Any questions? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
Marv?
Aye.
And I vote aye, motion is carried.
I'll bring this up for you to sign, and then while he's signing, I can give you a little bit of an update on indirect costs and how they're going to, what that will mean for Mercer County Social Services. As you're well aware of, prior to 2017, we always needed county funds to pay for our social services. We did not receive enough funding from the state or federal partners in order to do it. And so when Abacus came and they did the countywide cost allocation, we always had that money stay within our budget, so that, because otherwise what would happen is, it would have got sent to you, I would have sent you a bill for it, and you would have sent it back. And so it seemed like that was a waste of time and everything like that. Well, since 2017, we haven't needed any county funding. We've been using just the funding that we received from the state. So, when Abacus came and did your countywide cost allocation, it seemed like it should go back to the counties rather than stay within our budget. Or in our fund is where it was put. So I had asked the department to get me the figures about what would be Mercer County's share, and I finally have received that. So shortly, Mercer County will be receiving a check for $15,425.18 to cover its indirect costs. And those would be the indirect costs for 2017, or 2018. Our 2019 indirect costs, Mercer County will get a check from McLean County after the first of the year, and that check will be for $27,036. So, just so you know that you're getting a little bit of money reimbursed to you through countywide cost allocation.
The 27,000 is for 2019 indirect costs?
Well, I think they're for 2018, and then 2019 was, the 27,000 is 219, you're correct. 15,000 is 2018.
Shanna, you want copies of this, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you wanna scan and email and get back.
I can do that.
To it, just bring it to me, that's
I'll
fine.
email it back when I have all the comments.
That's perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Steve, will you buzz me this afternoon?
Will you what?
Give me a call this
I
afternoon.
can, yes.
Thank you.
If I
Okay.
forget, call me.
Okay.
I'll be in Washburn.
That's where Sarah is too, so. Sarah, my phone operator.
Yeah, yeah. Run through her.
Okay, we have some time, we'll go down to the bottom under other business. The first item is expenditure revenue reports.
You guys had asked that I keep the agenda for the last meeting.
like to ask a couple of questions, if I could, regarding, thank you for that report. Is it pretty typical where we're at this time every year? So, we're comfortable. I was gonna ask Jessica, I'll let the board know something I learned. It was no secret, I just learned it though, is that Great River Energy is giving us a payment, 5 payments. They started out this year with $88,143. They did that in April. And they're gonna decrease it 20% every year for 5 years. Okay, the question I have is, and Shanna just informed me of this last week when I was going through some stuff on the audit reports. I guess I would like clarification why they owe us this money and to ensure that we're actually getting paid what we're supposed to be getting paid. There's no information that says, all of a sudden we just start receiving checks.
After the plant closed, they don't owe us anything. It was a common courtesy thing on GRE's behalf for their portion of the coal money. It was nothing that the county commissioners required of them. It was, they came in and when they told us about Great River Energy closing the Stanton station, they offered to give us those payments for 5 years, starting at 100%, and then 80, 60, 40, 20. It was no agreement we entered with them, and like I explained to you last week, I'm not sure how they came up with the dollar amount, because those dollars come in, filtered to us through the state treasurer's office. So, and if there's any report that goes with the full conversion and severance, I would assume Darby has it, because I don't get any of those
Yeah.
reports.
I guess, my question is, I'm not used to companies coming in and saying, we're gonna pay you 88,000 and 70,000, and just out of the goodness of their heart. Usually there's some requirement, state or otherwise, that says that because of a plant closure, we have to do this.
I have no idea, but I can certainly look into it, because I have no clue.
I wouldn't doubt it. Would you please?
Didn't they do the same thing when they switched from lignite to Montana coal? They give us a portion, not give us, but they maintained contributing a portion of their coal severance monies that we would've got.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on that. I would assume that was before I was the
I'm-
auditor.
That,
I believe that's true. In both cases, one was coal severance, one was coal conversion.
Conversion. And I don't think that there was any requirement. I think they
no,
just came
no,
to us
they did that.
out of the goodness of their hearts, because it's killing our economy now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was something done on their end to stop them go to us and get us ready for losing it entirely. But I'm not aware that there's anything to hold them to it. But I don't know, I'll have to get back.
Okay. I guess I want the commissioners to be aware that, as it is, our coal conversion, this 88,143 is part of our coal conversion monies on our budget. And that's gonna decrease every year for the next 5 years, and that's gonna go away. So I just want you guys to be aware of that, and if we're due some more monies, fine, I'm just, like I said, Jessica's gonna look at it, and appreciate that. One other question for Jessica, if you would, please. I asked this in the past, but I didn't probably state it as well as I should have. Would you please look up the definition of restricted and committed funds? And the reason I'm asking that is, as I understand it, and I've asked other places, if we levy a tax against the taxpayers for a certain amount for a certain thing, those monies are restricted just for that activity, we can't use it for something else. That's the definition as I've received for a restricted fund.
Well, I think it's gonna depend on exactly what we're talking about. So is there a specific example?
Well, I can give you several examples, but the first one I'll give you is like sinking an interest. That is a bond payment, and those monies can't be used for anything else. If we levy a tax for, I don't have a list of them in front of me, another specific thing, what you just said, I guess I haven't heard that. It depends on what it's used for. If we levy a mill levy for I don't know if this is the right term, homestead credit or whatever. Okay, that, I understand. I'm just using, that's a bad example.
How about like farm to market or unorganized road?
Right.
Those are specific.
Yeah, so those, if you levy a specific amount for a specific purpose, those monies they have to stay in that fund. They can't be transferred to another fund without board approval.
Would that be?
So I'm looking for the definition of restricted and committed funds as it applies to our bank accounts.
Would your restricted mean the same thing as dedicated?
Probably, they used, GASB 54 lists the definitions, restricted, committed, and so forth. So that's the.
So I would
term
think
that is-
dedicated would be more appropriate than restricted.
Well, GASB 54 used the other,
Yeah,
so I'm just using their terms.
okay.
There's different opinions on that definition, but they're pretty consistent.
Is that it, Marv?
Yes. Oh. No, it is on that item. Yes, I have one more item, but it's a different subject. Thank you, Jessica.
Next up
That'd
is
be
the
great, yes.
liquor license number 442, hook, line, and sinker, semi-annual off-sale beer.
Move to approve?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions on that? Any questions? Marilyn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
Marv?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion is carried.
Finally learning our little early ones.
Next up is December board appointments.
Okay, there's several, Dakota Central Social Service Board has one board member expiring, Lori Walensky. And then the Water Resource Board has Casey Boyd's position expiring at the end of the year. And I have checked with Beth Bristol at the library board, she hasn't gotten back to me, so I asked Merlin today. I believe there is one expiring on the library board as well. And then we still have a vacant position for the planning and zoning board that expires in 2022. These have to be appointed by the end of the year. So I'm wondering, do you guys want me to send letters out to the current people, or do you want me to put it in the paper for applications of interest?
Probably both, huh?
Well, I think it's be a common courtesy to the people that
Are on it?
have held a position to remind them, but we probably need to advertise for all three of them.
Four.
Four.
Let's throw the P and Z in there since we haven't found anybody for that position.
Dakota Central Water Board, Planning and Zoning, and what was the other one?
Library.
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 Oh, library.
I think so.
I will advertise. You want it to be in one or two papers?
I recommend two.
Okay. It'll be on the December 18th agenda for appointment.
Next up is landfill update.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was any more on this.
I'll explain that to you, Blake. That statement in there is relative to the original permit. And the new permit is, I heard is ready to go, so that'll extend the life of the landfill.
So this next year should be changed,
Well, I hope so, yeah.
or the
And
next time we have.
And some of the area, you're well aware of what has been covered here
Right.
recently.
Right.
But if there's no new permit, then things have to end in 2024.
And I have one more question, and I'm sure nobody has it with them, but on page 47, and Shanna, maybe you can, after the meeting, tell me what, but it's got a transfer in for the closure funds and the landfill loan totaling 28,000, and it's also got a transfer out. And I realize you don't have it with you, so.
Every year in Candy's budget that she presents to the board and you guys pass, she has, the post-closure and the operational closure, there's two lines in her budget that she transfers money out of those accounts and into those. The operational closure, she is then allowed to move money back into her landfill account to use that for things such as the construction that she just had done. The post-closure is something that has to stay there until the landfill is, that's like reclamation time, completely closed down. So that one just keeps building. The other one is kind of for savings account per se, that she moves money in and out of, depending on which project she has.
So this, being we approved it in the budget,
Yep.
at what point do you contribute to that fund?
Usually I do all, like, Carmen also has yearly transfer before, I usually do all of those in December, at the end of the year.
So if for some unknown reason, one of them doesn't get transferred in the year it's supposed to, does that money go away like our Parks in lieu of fund?
Because her budget then resets at zero the next year. She still has the dollars in it because her budget just continually revolves, when she's on her own, but, yeah.
Okay.
Ken, you're up next.
Morning.
Morning.
First thing is the hay bale removal. November 1st is what we had put in, what we've always done traditionally, and that was posted in the paper, but I was gonna go with what the state had done with that November 15th deadline, if you guys are good with that, because of the weather, the way it's been. And at least now it's freezing up to where at least they can get into them ditches and not tear them up anyway, so
Yeah,
if
some
we
of the
can
ditches
extend it.
had water in it, they couldn't get in to get them.
Yeah, so, I don't know if we need approval, or I suppose we would need an extension, right, because it's November 1st is the,
I'll make a motion that we extend it to November 15th, following the state's.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
And I vote aye. Motion is carried.
and then the next I got is mowing the ditches. I just wanted to open it up for discussion and get some guidance, get some ideas. You know, we've always, we always start with the blacktop, all the paved roads, around, well, right after June 15th, give or take. And, well, never before, but after, if we can get to it, but like this last year, it was after the 4th of July. And what we're running into this year, we had that early snowstorm. And to this day, we still got the mowers out. They should finish up the end of this week. But what's frustrating is that, when we start mowing, then we'll have people, well, I want this left undone, and then they don't get it done, then we gotta go back, we don't have time to go back and get it done. So I'm just looking for what we can do to help, you know, do we set a date that after a certain day we can cut it? Because I've had, well, they'll say, call the shop and make arrangements with the shop. Well, when we're there, we're there. We don't have time to go back if it doesn't get cut. And then, like I say, then we have people that put stuff that the weeds are 6 feet high on some roads. Well, we gotta, like I say, we start on like this year, we started out east on the blacktop, work our way over to the west, and then start mowing all the gravel roads too,
Do
okay?
you still have requests at this time of the year not to cut the grass?
This year we didn't do that this
No.
year, no. Last year, I think we did when we had that,
Yeah, but I
We
mean, my
extended
question
it.
is, right now, you still have requests that
Not now
some
anymore.
people,
No.
No, that's in there every year, but the county does it as a kind of a courtesy thing. Technically, we wouldn't have
Yeah.
to mow the ditches, but we know how that would go, because some people would do a 3-foot pass. Well, it's nice with a 15-foot, because that way you get for snow, you know? And what I'm saying is that we're already into November. We had that October snowstorm, and it'd be nice if we could, instead of getting these phone calls saying, leave this, and then when we have to, I mean, I just want it so it's set, so when they call, that's what it is. It's not, you know, to leave this little strip here, leave this, we'll come back, and, but when we're there, we have to cut it.
I don't see how you can do that.
Well, that's what happens.
I know, but, I'm thinking this morning I had to get my dumpster out to the curb, and if I hadn't have done that, the garbage truck goes by, and if my dumpster's not out there, I gotta sit on my garbage for a week. So, same kind of thing, that if you guys are out there and cutting and you're on a schedule, I mean, you gotta keep it moving.
Well, that's just it. And then what I say, what's frustrating is then you got two ends of the spectrum, the people complaining because they can't see deer, they can't see pheasant, it's an obstacle. But then I can see the other point that they wanna cut hay, but it's like you can't please both entities. That's my point. And then when they call and they complain, guess who they could talk to? They might talk to you guys and kinda chew, but they'll talk to me and really chew, because it's like, that's my hay, it's up to the deal. Well,
My recommendation is you follow the schedule that's most efficient for the road department and the economies of the county. And if there's any question, they can call the commissioners, and you can tell them that. That's my recommendation.
We'll just have them call you, Marv, because.
That'd be fine?
Yeah. I like my rest once in a while.
Yeah.
The deal,
Well, I'm trying to take some of the responsibility off of Ken and put it back to us, and I'll take that. If they wanna call me, that's fine. You have to be efficient in the way you do business and your planning and scheduling, and you have that latitude to do that, and it has to be honored.
well, we know, Marv, for instance, the federal aid road very likely is gonna be cut. There's very few spots from Zap all the way down to the Morton County line that isn't cut because it's got 4-to-1 slopes. They're gonna pretty well get there. But what Ken is kind of probably referring to is there's a lot of those, like past my place and up north of Gold Valley and stuff, you have the old Mucker Road. You can cut it, but very likely it probably won't get cut. And if that isn't cut, as you know, Ken, then the neighborhood is all blocked in. So,
It depends upon the year, it depends upon how
Yeah.
short a hay farmers
Short-
are.
well, and that's just it, and we did that last year, you know, and I don't have a problem with that. If we're short of hay and we, you know, and it's only this tall and there's not much of an obstacle to come to the commissioners, we ask if we can extend it a little bit, you know, and that would be dependent on you guys, I mean, but in a normal year, that's what I'm going for,
I
that we
think-
need to get it done.
I think just a thought here is, they could, you know, go through the commissioners or go through the road department. But if they do not cut it, we need to charge them back.
Well, and that's
Now,
what it does say in that, you know, that we
Now-
do cut it, but yet,
Well,
right,
it
but
put,
then,
it puts the monkey on their shoulder, in other words. You said you were gonna cut it. Your word is what we're following.
But is
And the rest of the county, or the rest of the neighbors are depending that this is gonna be cleaned up, because we'll be stranded. I am in that country, if that ditch don't get cut, Lord have
Closes
mercy,
in.
we'll be stranded.
I think public policy just prevails on that courtesy you're trying to extend.
Yeah,
I mean, I get trying to, but at the end of the day, the public safety issues and everything has to.
right, that's just it, I mean,
because
we
it's
gotta
then
start sometime, I mean,
And even
after
if
that
we
date.
do agree to leave it, or we agree that they're gonna cut it, and even if we charge them, it's still time
Well, I know we
sensitive
still-
that we gotta go.
see, that's where it's frustrating on, I mean,
Whether
it
they pay
is.
for it or not,
I know.
we still gotta backtrack.
And with only 2 mowers, now we got that other extension, that is nice, we got to put that in this week, but I mean, we're just about done, but it'll be nice with that, cause we don't have to go, just have that one mower cutting all those mucker roads, cause
Yeah.
we don't wanna put that tractor in the ditch, but
Yeah, yeah.
it still takes time, and we got a lot of miles.
Well, you never know when the snow is gonna come.
That's just it, and this year was a
And-
prime example, we got lucky too,
Two
I mean,
things I look at it is snow, holds up snow, and
Yeah.
safety.
safe, yeah.
And,
And then on the year like this, they gotta go back and cut where they started
Well, that's
again
just it.
because of the regrowth.
Cause we got all our rain again, yep, so, okay.
I'm gonna stick my neck out and make a motion that we set July 10th as the date we're gonna start mowing ditches, under normal circumstances. I know I'm gonna get heat for it.
No,
Does that conflict with Game and Fish Department nesting?
well, June 15th is usually what they say for nesting.
Okay.
After that is what they're for say for nesting, but a lot of times we get calls on the black, like a lot of these cabin sites, even before the 4th of July.
Right.
Cause it's so high.
'Cause
So,
it's so high.
that's why, even like a
I'll withdraw.
June 23rd, but I mean, I don't know what to say.
Shannon, I withdrew my motion, there's more discussion.
That's why I'm saying, I mean, a lot of them call before that July 4th, and we're
I think
at
leaving
least,
it in his discretion and supporting
I
him
think
from
so.
year to year to determine is the best approach probably.
Yep.
cause we'll have it, we put it in the paper, so, I mean, we'll just kinda go from there, and if,
We can all hear you really do try to accommodate everybody.
try, but it don't always work.
Sounds good to me.
Well,
Well, I just thought that,
yeah, I know, I understand where you're at, Dwight, but
You
that's why I
can
say a lot of
refer
those
to-
calls come in before the 4th of July, I mean, and then we got grass this, if it's a wet spring.
This would have, I don't know, because this would be a yearly thing, because each year's different, but that could even be, you know, you wanted to get in touch with me and, you know, when we're looking at a date to start
Right.
the mowing, let's get an article.
Right,
out each
yeah.
year and say this is
We kinda do
this year
what we do. I mean, like I say, we do blacktop, we shuffle over from west to east, would depend on the year, and then start gravel on the way back, so.
probably give them their notice earlier.
Yeah, you always have them, who reads the newspaper? I've had that one. Who's got internet? I mean,
Well, even just here, Dan, explaining the concerns, I think, that some of them don't understand it from a public policy standpoint. They want
Right.
the rails, you know?
yeah,
So explaining some of that stuff, I think is helpful.
right, like I say, safety and snow, so,
Safety,
yeah.
Anything else?
I'd like to get approval to purchase, we've been kinda running into roadblocks with gravel pits, the ones we've been exploring. We thought we had a good one, and 5 feet below was all sand, so I need some scoria though. And I got money, and I got $119,000 in my graveling and crushing for, to get $20,000 worth of scoria. So I just need approval. We have to haul it ourselves, but from one of the local.
You have the money in your budget, you
Yes.
said, right?
Yep, but it's over that 5,000, so I gotta ask.
Purchase, how many,
$20,000 worth.
have you got a site in mind?
Well, we're just gonna buy it from a local contractor.
I'll give you approval.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know, do we have to vote on this?
I don't know,
All right.
but it's over that 5,000, right? I got it in my budget, but we still have it at 5,000.
Is there a second?
Now second.
Would you stockpile this?
Yeah, right at the county shop there, in that southwest corner. We don't have much left. We got a spot that we have to open up, we're gonna see once, I think we can get our own pit opened up, but we thought the gravel thing was gonna work at that spot, and it didn't, we could've done the scoria at the same time, but that gravel didn't work there either, so now hopefully that scoria will, but we gotta do something for come spring, cause if we got a bunch of soft spots, and we might next spring, cause of all the rain we've had, so.
Are we in discussion? Did somebody
Yeah.
second? Okay. From what I've been hearing, this scoria is not a cheap item.
No, it's not.
$12 a ton is what I've heard.
Well, we got it better than that, but,
Well, that's good, but it is.
yeah, I've heard, yeah, it's more expensive than gravel in a lot of times.
Really?
If you can believe, yes. When you buy it like
And-
that, I
But
mean,
that's been
but
run
usually
through a
for-
crusher and sized and everything.
well, either they
else.
crush or if screen it, you know, to get the bigger chunks out, but. So,
You did say you had 119,000 left in your budget for this
Right.
type of product?
yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
And I vote aye, motion is carried.
And other than, we should be done with all the first cut mowing this, end of this week, and then we'll go and double cut some of the spots where we have problem areas further back against the back slope, if weather allows us to, So, other than that, we're actually hauling gravel this week on a few spots that and it did work. I mean, like I say, we tried to get all the worst spots we could. We still got some out there, but that's gonna be pretty much done now too, cause it's too cold at night in the mornings.
Have you checked out on, this isn't a good deal, but, just to get us through what it costs to get our product, some of that from Riverdale?
We've talked about that for gravel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just to Band-Aid things a little.
well,
I mean, if you're out, you're out.
Right.
That's not ever a good day.
you know, we've also thought about, seeing
we
for
got-
even trucking with, you know, to contract out some of these gravel roads that, cause with the Riverdale pit right there, we might, you know, instead of doing a lot of pavement jobs, I mean, we're pretty much caught up on our pavement jobs, but to do some big graveling, I mean, and out of that Riverdale pit.
It's, the only
Might be
problem,
cost.
the only problem, as you're well aware, is because it's not segregated rock. It's round pebbled rock, and
Yep.
it gets to floating.
It likes to
Really
washboards.
Like to wash.
Does good in
board.
rain, but it
It-
doesn't like washboards.
So
Or
it-
it likes the washboard.
So a nice spot is where you have your hole in the ground to put it in, because
It rolls.
Have you made any progress on that place that you were negotiating to purchase some gravel?
Well, that's the one that I was saying, that there's 4 or 5
Sand?
feet of over, but the rest is sand all underneath, and it ain't a big enough area to get that 4 or 5 feet of
Oh.
gravel.
Oh.
But I got 2 more spots at, well, one of our existing ones, and then another that we know but we just have to work out a deal with the landowner.
That's the one in the western part of the county.
Yep.
But the other one that you had is.
Yeah, not good. So, like I say, they don't make it anymore.
How many ton of gravel do you use a year?
Like this year, we put out over, I'd say, close to 35,000 ton. In the years past, I'd say probably 15,
Yeah.
20, but when we
Depends
had
on-
all them trucks haul that, I mean, we used a lot of gravel, put a lot down.
Depends on the weather.
Depends on the traffic.
Oh, say, since you're here, Ken, down there by the, wind towers?
Yep.
Does that road get finalized?
No, it's not, no. I was
Later-
down there Monday, I went down there and it was,
I mean,
they
later-
use the ditches, everything for traffic, because the first 2 miles west of 49 is Morton counties. Then we have that mile stretch, you know, where Cottrey's is.
Yes.
Over to the T.
Yeah.
That's ours, our stretch, and then going up to Cottrey's is the portion we take care of, but no, they're not. They gotta re-gravel, they gotta redo
That'll
some
be
ditch
in
work.
Springtime.
In the
I know.
spring, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. But- And then I got that deal for you, Wayne, remember you had asked about that bridge down by Frank's?
Oh, yeah.
I got that bridge report that the state when they inspected it, so.
Did they do,
Yeah,
did they bore the pilings?
When they did the inspection in February, if it passes, it's sufficient, it's at 93%.
Okay,
So we'll just have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what they came up with, so. Other than that, that's all I got.
67,
Thanks, Ken. Under other business, AVI,
5 minutes, please.
pardon?
5 minutes, please.
5 minutes? Okay, we'll have a break for 3.5 to 5 minutes.
give or take.
Well,
It works, it works. Getting a little bit better, basically for prisoners that go between,
Not prisoners, probationers or parolees,
in between states.
we'll call the meeting back to order.
so that we have to approve to take somebody else's.
Okay.
Because so if like Minnesota wants to send us somebody,
Next up is the state's attorney.
just got a couple things, to go over. The first one I got here is the meeting that was on October 3rd, I think. Dwight, Marv, Merlin, the three of you were there. Saw the Tribune article, followed up on it, saw the Dakota Resource Council's Facebook page on it. I wish you guys I could actually see you.
would agree with those minutes that you put there.
So I have just done a draft, and I can forward it to you in Word if anybody wants to see it.
I guess I would like if anybody else has any discussion on it.
Yeah, I can.
I'm just letting you know where I'm at on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like to see things in front of me,
Yep,
so here's the,
thank you.
The paper was noticed 2 weeks in advance
by our board or by Dakota
by our
Resources?
board.
I was unaware of that. If that's the case, then it is, we still need minutes. As I noted in my letter, I was unaware that the paper had received notice that there may be a quorum of commissioners, because Shannon typically, I wasn't aware of that.
I wasn't aware of it. I was surprised in all three of us. In fact, one of us almost went home.
Yeah, me. I said, well, hey, that's the deal, but.
So,
Well, I
but if minutes are required to err on the safety side of an open meeting ruling,
Yeah,
and what you drafted, I'm in favor of that.
And I would appreciate a heads up from one of you if there's a need for them, so I can put it out on our website and email Dan, just to give them a heads up that we are gonna be.
We generally do. We had no clue. I thought I was
Yeah,
gonna
we
be the only
didn't
one.
talk with each other to say we were going.
Expired.
But I didn't know that. Merlin, I don't.
And I think-
We all walked in, we were all
Notice
surprised.
the paper.
And we,
like, how was the paper notice?
Kate
I
was
told
there.
Dan, sitting right here at a commissioner meeting, that there'll probably be more than 3 commissioners at that
Okay.
infomercial meeting.
Well, and that's, yes, but that's,
That's not
you know,
official
there might
notice.
be more, there'll probably
It's
be
actually the
more.
Beulah Beacon that has
There's-
to note it.
And actually, well.
Well, Kate was there and she,
Right, it created a hole because the, you know, the editor,
Yep.
there, she got another job by someone else. And during that transition, Kate ended up attending that meeting, but then never put anything in the paper before she left, and so.
So this covers it.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, and for future reference, it
The
is,
flat
and you've,
folder.
you've seen that before, where she sends it out, there may be a quorum, that just takes care of it.
But yeah, for me, if you, like, to Shanna's point, you know, when, if I have a, if we can let her know that I have an email, you know, a
Right.
specific documentation rather than word of mouth, that this is
Right,
how
yeah.
that works. Again, we had the press there, but it was kind of.
Right, and again, it's as simple as doing this, it's easily remedied, and it's just good food for thought going forward when we have these sorts of things, so.
No,
Wow.
I agree, and I like what you did, and it does remedy everything.
Yeah, so we just would need a motion to approve those.
We have a motion to approve the minutes for,
For the October 3rd
yep,
Dakota Resource Council. I so move.
is there a second?
second that.
We had discussion,
Yes, according to 4404-17.1, under the definition of meetings, I don't think this is even necessary.
Well,
This was a public meeting, the public was invited. As far as I know, I am part of the public.
You are also a commissioner, though, you can't pick.
Exactly.
You can't pick and choose which role you are, and from a public perspective, having commissioners present and speaking at this is directly public business. So you, and there's, I'm not even gonna get into it, there's lengthy Attorney General's opinions on this. Even a social gathering can turn into a meeting if public business is discussed while you're there. So, that's not even, the Attorney General's clear on this.
So what's the difference between this and convention? 4 of us or 5 of us are there.
Hmm?
What's the difference?
There isn't really a difference per se. That convention is, and I don't think you could look through any county that has minutes reflecting a convention, that's a state thing, versus this being specifically held in Mercer County about Mercer County. So, and that's a training, and yes, you're right, technically, that's the state and convention versus a meeting discussing public business.
That's considered a social gathering, right?
Well, it's social gatherings. you
Still
can
public
go.
business that affect.
I
Troy has a
disagree
good point.
totally.
This still
Right.
does remedy it.
Yes, it does remedy it.
It is a good point.
Yeah, and it's a fair point. However, to me, the distinction is, this being directly related to Mercer County and in our county, it needs to be reflected that there was attendance there.
I think we should let the Attorney General decide if he wants to prosecute personally.
Well, it doesn't work that way, he doesn't prosecute. But
No,
in any
I'm sure
event,
not.
it would come back to me to remedy, and so I'm heading that off. And I don't understand the pushback, but in
You
any
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, yes.
you got some discussion going on here? Probably?
Well,
Yeah.
one more round.
Okay. Probably a little mistake on, probably on my part, or as the commissioner. Anyhow, I got a card invited to this event here. And I should have brought it up, before the board here, if anybody was going. And, but we were, I didn't go. And I didn't discuss it with anybody if they're gonna go, but a little bit narrow-sightedness on our side, or I think, we could have just asked, is anybody going to this event tonight, or this week, because I got this card, I didn't realize, and I think that's what happened, everybody just was invited and.
Right,
and
again,
to-
it was simply an oversight, not a major deal, we can just remedy it and move on.
Well, yeah, and it never really came to the board, for instance, for discussion, hey.
Right,
we-
because at that
we-
point, we would have said,
Yes.
okay, we'll do notice and then do good.
Yes,
Okay, we have a motion, I think, from Marv, right?
right.
Yes.
How do you vote?
Aye.
And,
Did we have a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we-
Aye, okay, good.
Wayne,
I'll vote aye.
Dwight,
No.
Merlin,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion is carried.
Chairman, can I ask another question on this same subject to Jessica? And in my experience now, I've learned, okay, if this situation occurred again, had I just taken a few brief minutes of what was occurring, would we have been okay?
A few brief minutes.
If I would have taken brief minutes of what was going on during the meeting,
Wrote the minutes up.
because all you need is minutes, right?
But the public wasn't noticed.
Yeah, there's two issues, the notice and then the minutes
Okay.
will rectify the lack of notice. So, does that make sense?
No, not yet.
And the minutes, that is her duty, which kind of leads into the next one. That's her duty to have those. The big issue was to take those down. So the big issue was first not having the notice. There may be a public, then the public can attend, you know?
I'm just saying that if, like in this situation, all three of us, none of us knew the other ones were gonna come. If this happened again, where we all three walk in, we're at this thing, the public notice never occurred. I'm just saying it never occurred.
The remedy then is to prepare the minutes.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
And from what I can see on this deal here is that our minutes must include the names of the members attending. Well, we have that. The date and time the meeting was called, well, we never called anything to order.
You can only
And,
record what occurred.
the list of topics, we can probably do that, but there are no motions made, no votes. So,
You guys decide at
I
the
think-
last minute that there's three of you there, you can shoot me a text.
We never,
Take me 2 seconds to put it on the internet,
Who
because
knows?
it's public forum.
okay,
And
I
then-
understand, I'm just saying, we never knew till we walked in the door.
But even then, his,
Well-
a notice doesn't have to be any certain time frame.
Right, Mary Kay Kelch is kind of the guru of open records and meetings at the Attorney General's office. In one of our conferences, the specific example I will never forget as it pertains to this, is you might have a disaster going on, a flooding or something like that. And you get commissioners that show up on site, everybody's helping, but suddenly something comes up that needs to be decided. At that point, typically those sorts of things, the press is even there, you can stop and say, hey, we're about to make this decision and pull the press right there to be involved. The thing is making sure that the public has an opportunity to attend or view it. So it can be that quick, you know?
We did that. As soon as we saw all three of us there, we saw there was a newspaper lady, we told her that there was a quorum there, but it would
The
have,
follow through then, yeah,
just do the minutes.
right, right.
Had I done some minutes of what occurred, what was there going on, we would have met the letter of the law.
Well, potentially, would have had to come back. here. Yeah,
Exactly, it
right,
does. Yeah, it does you
Right.
no good to write them down and not bring them in,
Right.
and
So-
get them to Shannon immediately.
Right, and then they'd come back for approval just like they are, right?
Okay.
But it doesn't have to, I mean, it does not, this isn't, I mean, of course, the public notice, and Dan, don't get me wrong here, is a big thing, but yet this doesn't have to be a big deal, and we don't have to overthink it. This remedies it,
Correct. No, I'm not questioning the remedy, I was just
Right.
showing in the future.
yeah, in the future, just give me a heads up, so I.
Okay.
If you think you might go to a meeting, let me know, and then I can put it out on our website and let Dan and the Beacon know that there might be a forum.
Thank you, I'll do that.
Yeah, even if there isn't a forum, I know
Then
then
when
this is taken care
When
of.
I
I forget, remember that I said that I would. You can scold me.
What else you have, Jessica?
And I'll be the designated go-home person.
The next issue, I just wanted to address the minutes issue that seemed to develop. I think it was put in your packets, the Attorney General's opinion related to this. It's become very cumbersome to go through the minutes lately. I felt like there had to have been some guidance, and so I found this opinion. I just wanted to clarify everybody's roles and how this works. The Century Code does require your approval. It does allow for your corrections to the minutes, but it is just that, corrections, not editorializing, not amendments, that sort of thing. The duty of that does fall to the auditor. And so it has felt maybe like some of the, just getting through the minutes has been way more than it should be, and that's where I found this opinion. So I just wanted you guys to have that, be aware of it. You'll see it can even lead to the auditor attesting that she is not in agreement with the minutes as changed. And ultimately, it could, meeting could stop and you could end up looking at court involvement. I don't think, hopefully we'll never need to go there, but I just, in light of the way things have been, I thought everybody could benefit from seeing this opinion, and certainly if there's questions on it.
Before you came in earlier when we were talking about this, I did mention that actually, the only thing that needs to be on official minutes is motion, seconds, and roll call votes. Discussion doesn't need to be in there at all.
Correct, correct. And to that end as well, it is specific to corrections, and so, where something was truly wrong, I mean, certainly you guys can correct that, but, like I said, amending and stuff like that. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Hopefully that'll help going forward.
Yep, okay.
And then the last thing, is the civil asset forfeiture fund. You guys might have heard some discussion about this, the recent legislative changes. Starting November 1st, we're now required to report to the Attorney General's office of anything done through civil asset forfeiture. Are you guys familiar with what that is? or-
No, I am not.
Okay.
Is that conclude task force as well?
Right,
Okay.
where there's a criminal case, maybe typically you're gonna see it be drug related. And there might be money or vehicles or something that was used for the crime. We can forfeit that, we can seize it as a separate civil action against the property directly, so that other owners get notice of it. Ultimately, we get it, and task force have always taken it. There was apparently been some concerns raised about policing for profit. I think it's maybe more of a national issue than it's been North Dakota, but the idea being, if it's a relatively minor offense, you shouldn't like lose your house or, that sort of thing. So the legislation, put into effect requires reporting to the state, which was not required before. Counties and agencies just did it on their own. It also requires some procedure in place as to how those funds are then distributed back, okay? Williams County was, I think, the first one that adopted something that's kind of become the standard that's been circulating amongst my colleagues of what to use. So I did draft, something for us. I don't know how deep you all wanna go into this. The process proposed that Williams has adopted, and I expect many others, sets up a board, essentially, that will review applications, and it's specific to law enforcement applications within our jurisdiction. So we'd be looking at police departments, the sheriff's department, possibly the highway patrol, if they're involved. Putting in an application to funds that were seized. The board that is set up, is the sheriff, state's attorney, and auditor. And under this process, it allows disbursements up to $2,500 to be done just by that board. Anything over $2,500 has to come here. Now, for practicality
So you're considering this as first reading, and that second reading would be at the next meeting, or how's that work?
I guess, there isn't really any, this isn't in part of the employee manual, this is just our policy, essentially like our other boards and whatnot, establishing the board, so we don't really need the second reading sort of policy of planning, zoning, or employee manual.
So my understanding is the judge decides, okay, this is a forfeiture, that's part of his duty, right, deciding that? And then that would come back to probably the sheriff's department or whatever,
There is already a fund,
and then what they've confiscated or whatever, that gets auctioned,
potentially.
and the proceeds of that would be determined where it goes for requests out of this deal, right?
Possibly. We have seized vehicles at times, which law enforcement has requested then that they can use, so they're unmarked, undercover sort of things. It depends on the property, might be guns, depending on what it is,
Mhm.
really. So whether it's funds or property, yeah, if it's up to 2,500, it would go to that board. If it's over that, it would come to you, and it puts an annual cap of $30,000. So if there would be that much going on after $30,000, they'd all come to you guys.
So is that for hunting, fishing violations, the Game and Fish Department,
No.
game warden, they confiscate things, now does that come to the county or is that state?
That state.
All state, regardless of what county the offense occurred in?
Right. Now, here's the other thing. If we don't adopt something and we don't have this in place, anything we seize will automatically go to the state. So this also allows us to not only handle these funds, but keep them, because if we don't put something in place, it'll just all revert right back to the state.
So if we do this, this won't be like our park board deal where the funds are here this year and then they disappear into the general fund the next year? So,
No, because this is, it's already been a special fund. This, we, because of our task force, we already have the fund set up. So
it'll
that'll.
just stay there?
Right, so we've already done that step. It's gonna be the disbursement. And so,
Okay.
yeah, that stays in that fund. Because,
And your recommendation is that,
right, to follow, what Williams did, and I expect many other counties are gonna do. But I've got copies of this for you guys.
So we should put this on the next agenda then?
Yeah, I think. And, I mean,
Must not approve it today?
yeah, it's up to you.
no, I'd rather read it first.
But it's, yeah, it's lengthy, so I kinda thought.
Thank you.
Yep.
It'd be like the Obamacare deal, you don't read it, you just don't know what's in it.
Not too bad.
Okay.
Thanks.
Like I said, there's a lot in the background and a lot of things, so if reviewing that, you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call, I'll be happy to discuss those with you. I tried to inform you without getting stuck too much in the weeds.
You know, there's a lot of weeds.
There's a lot of weeds in this thing, yeah. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have AVI.
Yes, I've been in touch with this company, that's the company that installed our audio. I was told by them that they were not aware that there was issues with the system. So I would like to make a motion to direct the auditor to have them come up and straighten out the issues in this system so we can look and hear these meetings.
So what are the issues?
Can't hear them.
Okay. So direct me to have EDI come up and check out the,
Well, and then can't hear the meetings and there's meetings missing, and I don't understand why that should happen.
I think the sound, one of the big issues is when we get people talking way in the back, they're not recorded, we need to be more diligent in having people come up to the microphones. We need to even be, more conscious ourselves, but I think that is a big thing. You can hear muffle, but comments, I think we need to be more diligent in getting people up to the mics.
I'm gonna reaffirm what you just said. It is partially, when I look at the meetings today, I sat like this because I was very bad on sitting back here and my voice does not carry largely. So we need to be more diligent. one of the areas that I see is there is a lot of interaction in our meetings, and your table over there, especially with Shanna, I can't hardly ever hear her during the meeting, so we need to all be more diligent.
I think for her, a lot of times with her paper and stuff, that mic gets pushed while she's moving stuff and then.
I understand, but it's still a diligent thing,
Right,
right?
right.
She has valuable input, and the people need to hear it. I need to hear it. When I review a meeting and I want to say, well, what was Shanna's input, and I can't hear it, then I'm left with an open statement, and it doesn't
A lot
work.
of this.
German talking, yeah?
It's the same thing when we're in court and the court reporter will suddenly stop everybody and go, I can't hear you talking to your mic.
Yep.
We just all need to be, yeah.
I agree. I agree with Dwight that we need to have them come in and see if they can improve it. And then on top of that, we need to all be more diligent.
Well, we do know one thing, these mics are directional mics. And they said that right away from their A1, and they said if you can afford it, I don't remember what the price was, they'll pick up better if you're back further and this and that, but that, so these are directional mics, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
I will second that.
Any more discussion? Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
Merlin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion is carried. You still have the transfer of funds on,
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. Almost forgot that. I want to hand something out, and this is, I'll just be very blunt, and Jessica uses these terms, and I'm going to use it for myself. I want to try to follow the letter of law, and I definitely don't want anybody filing a suit against me. And county commissioners are required, it says public officials can be prosecuted, basically, for not personally liable for expending funds properly without the way they're supposed to. 112307 says, the board shall place on its records a statement of all such transfers with the reasons thereof in detail, and shall report fully and specifically thereon in the published statements of its proceedings. This has to do with transferring funds from one fund to another if that fund doesn't have sufficient amount of monies. We're supposed to place on a record a statement of all such transfers. Last meeting, I requested that. And we thought we might be short in October. There was a possibility of being short in October with the obligations of that month. So I requested some funds be withdrawn from a CD. So we're taking funds from a CD to support the general fund, which that general fund is a short of funds, so you're transferring monies into it that wasn't originally on the budget or approved. So I would like this statement put on to qualify what we did.
Hold on just a second, though. You made a motion to transfer $100,000 or less as Darby recommended from Bank of North Dakota into Union State Bank. That transfer doesn't follow a fund. You're confusing funds with a bank account.
No, I'm not confusing it, but go ahead.
So she didn't transfer $100,000 into the general fund. She can't transfer money from the bank account into the general fund. It has to be transferred from fund to fund. Does that make sense?
Go ahead.
So when
Keep going.
she moved money from Bank of North Dakota into Union State Bank, that just moved money from one bank account to the next bank account. It didn't, funds don't follow the accounts. So I just want to make sure that you guys are clear on that. If you're transferring money from into a fund, it has to come from a fund. And that money would be on that transfer sheet that I do every month that you've seen several times, where it's in the budget, the budgeted transfer sheet. So it's only moved from one fund to another if it's on that budgeted transfer sheet that you guys have approved during the budget. When she's moving money from one checking account to the next checking account, that's because when she gets tax dollars, she deposits them into Bank of North Dakota, and then we spend out of Union State. So when that gets low, she has to put money into Union State. So I just want to set clear that you're not confusing the checking account with our fund accounting.
understanding that none of the money in the Bank of North Dakota is tax money, that's all put in Union State Bank.
Well,
No,
but-
all of the money in Bank of North Dakota
Right.
is tax money.
Okay, so if it's, and this is for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna hear your point.
Okay, so if it's in one of those two banks, it's the general fund.
Nope, nope, we don't attach that to a fund. You gotta look at, okay, say we have, just make it 50 funds, right? But here we have our big pot of money from, this is all Union State, and then we have another pot over there that's Bank of North Dakota. Union State Bank has $100,000 in it, but we need 200,000 in it to meet. And we're paying out of every fund. When we make a payroll, when we pay payroll, we're taking out of general fund, task force, youth bureau, we're taking out of a bunch of funds. But that's all pulling out of Union State Bank. So we
Correct.
don't attach any funds, all of those funds make up what's in the bank account. So if you take all of the fund balances, they equal what's in our bank account.
And so transfers between banks is different
Then
than
transfers between funds, yeah.
Okay. The distinction that I see is that we have a budget, and we've allocated so much monies to be in the general fund.
Yeah.
And if,
You've
and,
allocated so many dollars to be expended from the general fund, and you've also estimated the revenue that's coming into the general fund.
okay, and if the revenue isn't meeting that, we take it out of the Union State Bank, out of our checking account.
Nope.
You just got done saying the checking account pays all the funds.
All the funds.
Correct.
So you could have, the youth bureau fund could be negative, doesn't mean the bank account's negative, because you're confusing funds with accounts.
Okay,
I know, it's really confusing.
see if I can explain this, put it in better words here. We felt we didn't have enough money in Union State Bank to meet our obligations for the month of October.
But she wasn't specifically saying the general fund.
No,
She
I'm
said-
not, my statement just now did not include the general fund.
Okay, that's every fund.
I understand that, okay? So, we did not have enough money in our bank account,
In one of our bank.
possibly. I'm talking about the account that we use to pay our bills every month. So, we felt we might not have enough, so we had to withdraw some money from a CD.
No, you made the motion to transfer from one checking to the next checking, no CD.
That was the second motion. The first motion.
No,
There was a motion.
To transfer from the cash sweep.
then rescinded that,
and Yes.
instead went with Bank of
Right,
North
yes.
Dakota per Darby's
and the
recommendation.
money in the Bank of North Dakota is a CD.
No, it's not, it's a checking account.
CDs are separate.
I understand it, but I thought that was a,
No, that's a checking account. We have two checking accounts, Union State Bank and Bank of North Dakota. And that's simply because Union State Bank can't FDIC insure us
Sure,
for what
right.
we need,
For what you-
for what the income we bring in for tax dollars. We have two checking accounts. And Bank of North Dakota is one and Union State Bank is the other.
okay. I understand what you're saying. I thought that was also a CD. That was my error. I thought that was an error, a CD also at Bank of North Dakota. I'll have to double check that, because that's, whatever led me to believe that that's what occurred, that's what I thought was happening.
Well, she discussed that there had been a $500,000 CD. She brought that up,
Mm-hmm.
but it was, yeah, separate from these two accounts. So I could see where the discussion kind of seemed like it was one and the same, but.
Yeah, well, I'll relearn that. One of my concerns, and the reason I'm bringing this up, is going back to our independent audit report. A lot of the funds that we have in our CDs appear that they are restricted, and we can't use them for general expenses. I don't know that for a fact, I'm investigating that. So I don't want to take money from a CD if those funds are indeed restricted or committed because of a levy that we impose, and that's why I had the money in the bank. So we have to have a certain amount, we should have a certain amount that's restricted or committed. And if we don't have any other money in our checkings account, it must be in those CDs, so I want to be very careful taking money out of those and using for general expenses. And that's what I'll continue to investigate that. But thank you, that helped.
Okay, moving
Especially-
on, we have portfolio updates left. Dwight?
Well, I don't have any other than, I did attend the Vision West meeting. That's the first time I've ever been to a Vision West meeting. I feel after attending that that's probably one of our more important portfolios. The idea to save the county money, we only send Buster Lankowski, cause he's got the vote, I don't think is in any way should be used for not sending a commissioner. This is very, to me, it was very educational, and I feel that they're doing a lot of good.
I agree with you. I've been to one in my lifetime here, and they do a lot of good.
How did we arrive at the decision not to pay mileage for a commissioner? Is that just a financial to save a few nickels, or how did that, what's the history on that?
I didn't know there was a decision not to pay commissioner mileage. Yeah.
There
It's
was a
been stated-
decision made after Wes Gunch resigned that we don't need to send a commissioner because Buster Lankowski is already there.
When I was assigned this portfolio, Wes Gunch and Dwayne said, they informed me at this at a meeting that Marvin, Buster Langowski has the vote, and we're just sending one person, and we don't need both persons to go because it will save the county money. And I want you to understand that. So that's why I haven't been going.
Wes usually didn't go unless Buster couldn't make it.
Right, well, that's what I was instructed by
If you have
former
it in your
members.
budget and you're going, I mean, by all means, put your mileage in there. I mean, I don't go to extra conferences if I don't have it in my budget, because you have to figure hotel and mileage and all that, but if you guys wanna go, just let me know and make sure, so I can, again, make sure it's not a quorum, and by all means, attend those meetings.
And I think part of it was spreading out the workload too, and at that time, the commissioners all were very comfortable with Buster representing Mercer County
Yeah.
and not wanting to add the extra expense.
Right, he doesn't come in and report though.
Well,
And,
then we can ask him to.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when I went, I was asked to go. It was out at DGC, and they wanted a presentation on Mercer County. So that's why I was asked to go that time to DGC. So,
I think that they just, like Wes just tried to cut costs by not having a hotel room
Right.
mileage to Stanley or somewhere so far away, if Buster was already going.
right.
Okay, I'm glad Dwayne brought that up, or Dwight, I'm sorry. I definitely want to attend more of these meetings. Now,
Well,
the 2020 budget does not reflect any mileage for me able to do that, so I will have to work with that.
It threw me because they told me they've been wondering why no commissioner's been attending since Wes Gunch resigned.
I've been in communication with them, and they've offered for me, but I was going by the information I was given at the time, and it's been revised and corrected, and I will probably start attending some of those, and we'll have to work something out with my mileage.
I was gonna say, or if two of you go carpool and save mileage there or something, you know, but, yeah, we're required to pay mileage if you're going on business.
Okay, I wanted to attend, but I was going with the information, but it's been refreshed, so I will be
Anything
attending
else,
more of
Dwight?
those.
Nope.
Just let me know if there's gonna be a forum.
Wayne,
No, I have
I'll
nothing.
email you when I'm there.
Merlin, you have any updates?
I have all kinds of stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as buildings and grounds go,
Turn the page, Marvin.
there seems to have been some difficulty with how the fire suppression system was wired in.
Right.
And that was looked at and inspected yesterday or the day before, something like that, from Nardello, who puts in those types of systems, and apparently it was wired in wrong. And so if the power goes off, it kicks that on, but also all the power in the building is, so it's not really dedicated like it should be. And I know Jim was gonna check with Bergstrom Electric, who installed that thing, and they were under the impression that they installed it according to the architect's plans or whatever. So, that's being looked at. Also, this chiller we have is, been taking some extra dollars. I guess the Freon wasn't covered under the warranty, and some of these other things weren't too. But it's starting to appear to me that maybe when this thing was put together and the warranties were put out, maybe some shortcuts were made to save some dollars, but that was probably great at that time, but it appears now that we're gonna be paying for it through repairs and other maintenances, so I'll be visiting more with Jim about that to see where those types of things are at, because as we know, dollars going out that should be covered, or should have been covered by warranties, isn't good. But again, if we took shortcuts on the warranties and decided not to have this covered or that covered, it's, I guess, just our dumb luck that these things are not working like they should be, and we're paying cash out of our county budget to get them fixed, so just so you're aware of those things. And the other thing I have is, I was at the Western Dakota Energy Association meeting in Minot last week, and that was quite interesting as far as the topics going. There, quite a bit of it was under oil production, but I did bring some extra books if you want to see what happened at that meeting and what topics were worked with. You can have one. But one of the main things I saw was something called the Load Pass Permit project. I guess this county was involved with that before and opted out or whatever, but if we have thought to re-enjoin that, as you can see on page 15 of this booklet that's coming out, we can make some money. I think it costs $1,000 to get back into, and the gal said that they would come up and present to the county. But this can also couple in with my report from planning and zoning that
Can I add, what is the one pass?
it's called Load Pass.
Load pass, what is that?
It's a must be for
So we
overload.
gotta spend money to make money?
Well,
What
you
is
know,
it, what is it for?
It's
It's a
for
permitting
Permitting trucks.
company that takes care of all your load permitting
So-
within the state,
Got
or
it.
within the county.
Do we take over what like Rachel does at the
Right.
shop?
Right, well, yeah.
Besides for egg permits and stuff?
Yeah, to a certain extent, and I'm not sure, and maybe Merlin can highlight, or do they do the regulation also?
as far as I know, like I said, I was just in passing quick. But if we're interested in the presentation, they'll come up and tell us, and we can get those questions answered from the horse's mouth.
Well,
Because
why did we opt out? Is that because we bought our own scales and tried to do the regulatory part ourselves,
Well,
or?
only law enforcement can do the enforcement.
Well, I think that's part of what this company does, so it could be law enforcement under them.
Well, I guess that's the question. Do they enforce this, or do they just do the permitting part of it?
I mean, we're the only county in the region that is not a member, according to the map. And now it's even went to Emmons County, and they're tooting their horn how much money they've made Emmons County by taking care of this permitting process.
I'm glad Merlin brought this up, because this was brought to my attention also at one of the meetings I attended to. It was Coal Country meeting, and they said, you guys better start looking at this, because especially if we get our sand,
that's part of it, I
Thing
was going to
going?
bring as part of my planning and zoning
that
thing. If
we're losing revenue for our county if we don't look at this and investigate and possibly take advantage of it. But
Yeah,
it needs to be
if we're gonna have
investigated.
these heavily loaded trucks,
Why don't you guys have them come call me and get on the
It's
agenda?
that
Okay.
Jeff Simon. Jeff Simon is the guy's name.
Yep,
That's who I need to call?
yep, with a G, G-E-U,
It's
G-O-E-F.
It's Geoff, but it's Jeff.
he's for Western Dakota, but there's somebody else for this other thing. But anyway, if we decide we're gonna approve the sand operation south of the crossroads over here and having those trucks on there, if we can get those dollars for each truck going back and forth on the road, that can
It's
help
that-
us maintain those things instead of just
Well,
saying
it's,
for free.
it streamlines the permitting process. It's available to the trucking outfits or the trucker themselves 24/7. Right. Not just when Rachel's in the office.
So, get them up here and give us them explanation.
I've talked to Ken about it, and he's got feelings both ways. We need his side of it, because he what I gather, he's not really that crazy about it.
You need to hear both
because
sides.
Rachel does that.
Yeah.
So, I'm just telling you what investigation I've done on this.
Okay, moving on, you're gonna get someone here to,
I'll send the guy a note to get on, invite him in if he wants to.
what else do you have, Merlin?
Well, we took care of it all in one fell swoop there.
Oh, no, being as you were on planning and zoning, Merlin, I thought you were gonna highlight a little bit on our
Well,
very educational trip.
I got one.
Okay,
I-
I don't think we should discuss that here until it comes from the planning and zoning.
just one thing that I wanna mention though, is, you talked about roads. Like I said, I had a commissioner beside me, be aware that community over there don't have clay. If you're gonna build a road, you're gonna have to buy clay. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, because it's on sand right now.
Well, that'll work well when you guys are looking at the hall maintenance road agreement, because that's partly up to you.
Yeah, but I mean,
So let that process work, and then you guys can look at it.
Okay,
that's what
well-
Mercer County had to do, buy clay.
What's up to you? I got a lot of.
What else do you have, Merlin?
That's about it, but a few of us did go over to Towner, or Granville, or in between Towner and Denby, I guess, to look at the sand operation that they're doing, but probably after we get more work with our planning and zoning and things, we can talk more, but it's not something, you know, you just want coming in and starting and going willy-nilly. It's gonna take a lot of thought and ideas to do that.
My impression when we come around the corner was, oh my God. I made my decision right then and there.
Well, I would hope not, because you need to wait until everything's presented to you, Joy.
I've seen enough.
Adjourn, please.
Okay, Marv, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Did I ask you already?
Yep.
Okay, we had an ambulance board meeting on the 28th, nothing to report there. Custer Health meeting on the 25th, the big topic of discussion was Lake Chida lots there that use their own septic systems, and many of the septic systems are not in compliance with the code. Some of them have their own tanks in the ground that they made themselves. The drain fields aren't working, so to make the story short, they're going to inspect all the systems, and if there are violations, these lot owners have until 2025 to put in a 1,000-gallon septic tank, which is going to be spendy. But the code was more strict than that. It was, you do it now, but Custer Health gave them till 2025.
Was their code in place when they were installed?
Nobody was checking.
But there was code in place.
Well, yeah, I think, a state code, but nobody inspected these things, and, you know, people put in a old rusty barrel,
Yeah.
and that's what
Yep.
happened. So anyway, landfill, had to give the contractor a little bit of an extension because of the wet weather. They had a number of days they couldn't work, but extended it to the 15th of this month. They do have all the road gravelled in there, the berms bladed. Most of the equipment is out of there. I think they're pretty much done, and except for the seeding, which will be done next year. So I think that's about it. We do have a meeting tomorrow in Beulah at 1:30 at City Hall to discuss the lime sludge that they're trying to get rid of in Beulah out of the, I think it's the lagoon.
Yep.
And I talked to Candace here a while ago, and she's waiting for a variance from the state health department. I don't know what the issues are exactly, but we'll find out. And I guess you just can't go and dump whatever you have in the landfill. You have to be in compliance. So she's looking for a variance. That's in the works. So we'll try to get some agreement here, I guess, not necessarily tomorrow, but shortly after that. And I think that's all I have.
Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
I think we should probably do it right now, but the next Vision West meeting is in Beulah, and there probably will be a good chance.
Do you know the date? Well, you can email me today,
Yeah.
the date and time and the place.
I think
That's
it's
all
in
I need.
December. It's a 2-dayer.
Oh. I can probably look it up on their website too. And I'll just notice that there'll be a possible quorum. If there's a quorum, please jot down some minutes.
Well, they,
Well, I don't know.
Sarah Tungy is the secretary, so they're,
Okay. And you also got an invitation for the soil conservation district stuff in your, on your table this morning.
yes, and that's next week, and I can't
Anybody
attend, but we should. Marvin, I think you'd be,
I was there last year, I'd like to attend again.
Is anybody else attending the soil conservation?
I haven't double checked my schedule, but I plan on attending that.
Anybody else goes, give me a shout, so I know.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a full and complete report from Marvin. I won't go. Unless you can't go.
Take good minutes.
I know, you usually do. That's good.
Anything else? If not, the meeting is adjourned.
holy smokes.
I want to make a comment about that sludge. If it, when they dig in it, it's blue and green and yellow and stuff, that line, that's actually sewer.
Wow, you're